Hey everyone, today we are going to be testing out brand new makeup that I am actually really excited about. I feel like there's been a little bit of a makeup slump the past couple of months. Like I have been reviewing new things, but I haven't been as excited about them. It's just like they've kind of been a little bit blah. So as it always seems to happen, all the stuff that I'm really interested in seems to drop all at once, and everything in this video, I just couldn't grab it fast enough for a review. So I'm gonna be doing a full try on of everything. Before we jump in and get started, if you're new here, hi, my name is Jen, and I review a lot of makeup here on this channel. Sometimes I talk about skincare, but the one thing that is always consistent is that everything is completely unsponsored. So you are always getting my honest opinions. None of my videos are paid for by brands. I'm here for you guys and here for myself because I just truly love makeup. I'm not a makeup artist, but I'm just an enthusiast. And if you're like me and you like that vibe of just friends chatting about new makeup, be sure to hit the subscribe button and let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. Okay, so first product that I can't wait to talk about is the new Natasha Denona Hyper Natural palette. So when I first saw this and I saw photos, I was like, no, like I don't think I'm gonna buy it because it looked so boring to me. I felt like these eyeshadows didn't really go together and they're all shimmer shades. So I was like, what am I gonna do with that? But then I saw a video that Natasha had posted on her Instagram explaining her whole concept for this palette, and it totally made sense, and I kind of just did a 180 right away. So what she's doing with this is creating a no makeup type of a palette that's supposed to be really, really easy to use. So you have your bronzers and contours over here, you have your blushes, and then these 5 eyeshadows are meant to be used as one and done shadows, and it's a new formula except for this one. This one right here is that Wet Look Topper. So that's kind of a new shade, but the other 4 are the ones that are brand new. They're called the Hyper Silk eyeshadow. So she said they're meant to be used just with a finger and just slick them on your lid. They're kind of like a gel powder hybrid type thing, and they're supposed to be incredibly silky. And then she went ahead and named each shade after the time that you would use it. So we have like your everyday shade. This one is Dreamy. Then she has Statement, because this one's a little bit of a deeper, smokier color. You have Soft, which is this beautiful pink. And then you have Casual, which is like this beautiful, deeper grayish green. So again, you can use these all on their own. She also mentioned if you want to do more of a full look and you want a matte shadow, that you could pull from the bronzer. And I was all set to kind of talk about that and maybe even try it. But then I was just looking at the back of the box right before filming, and it says right underneath, warning, bronze and contour and blush must be used only on cheeks. So I found that kind of interesting because in her video, she clearly said you can use the bronzer in your crease if you want to add a matte shade. So I'm wondering if this is one of those situations where technically it is safe, but because of the US regulations, she can't say that it is, or if it truly isn't meant to be used on the eyes. So until I know more, I'm not going to use any of the face products on my eyes. I'm just going to stick to the eyeshadows the way that she intended, just putting them on with my finger. And I do want to try all the shades on just so that we can see what they look like. So let's just take a quick close-up look at the palette and some arm swatches. And I felt like, you know, this palette is a decent size. I think the eyeshadows are her standard size that they usually are. The face pans are a little bit small, so I think unless you use a really small brush to apply them, you're gonna grab a combination of the colors. It's gonna be really hard to get just one single color. And also, this is supposed to be a universal palette that can be used for any skin tone. I'm not really sure of that when it comes to the bronzers especially. I tend to side-eye things that claim to be universal colors because it very rarely works out that way. But anyway, let's go ahead and just try on the eyeshadows really quick. I'm just gonna put them on with my finger. I really wanna see what these look like on. Okay, so first we're gonna try the Everyday shade over here on this eye. So this is that beautiful mid-tone brown. And these do have a very creamy feel. When I pick them up, they almost feel like cream shadows. I find them to be really smooth and they're not overly glittery. I feel like they have a nice amount of shine, but they're not so shimmery that it's gonna enhance texture if you have more textured eyelids. it's a lot smoother. And I think you could easily take that wet look topper and put it on top of anything if you just want it to pop. And I definitely want to try to do that also. So then next we have the Dreamy shade. So this one is that one that's the topper. And this is beautiful. It's really, really impactful. So you can see the difference from this eye to this eye. This one has a lot more sparkle and a lot more glitter. So just out of curiosity now, I want to put the Dreamy shade on top of the Everyday shade because Dreamy seems like one of those colors that you could see through. And so it's not going to affect the color underneath too much, but just add that layer of sparkle. So yeah, exactly what I thought. If you want to amp up the look of any of the other shadows, I think you could easily just layer Dreamy on top, and you can still see that brown Everyday shade underneath, but at the same time, you have just a little bit more oomph. Okay, so next we have the shade Statement, which was that really deep brown, and this one seems like it's meant to be for more smoky looks. This one I think even has less shimmer in it than the Everyday shade. This one is like a satin, almost bordering on matte shade, but it still has that creamy feel. And I think I'm actually just going to take a brush and kind of work this back and forth a little. I find this one to be slightly harder to blend with my finger than the other one. It's a little bit less forgiving. So I just want to like even this out a little bit. Okay, so this one is the Statement shade. Again, not really doing this with precision. It's going to look a little bit messy. Next, we have the shade Soft, which is that beautiful pink color. Ooh, I really like this one. This is kind of similar to the first Everyday shade. It has a little bit more shine to it than the Statement color that I just used. So this one is really pretty. And it gives a very soft look, just like the name suggests. So quickly, I just want to apply the Dreamy topper over both of these, and then we'll see how that changes things. So this is on top of Statement, and then we have it on top of Soft. So again, you can definitely see the base color right through these, but I think that glittery topper just definitely adds a little something extra. Then we have the last shade called Casual. And this one is that really beautiful grayish green. And this also has more of a satin finish, just like that deeper brown Statement shade. I'm just gonna blend this one really quick. I love this color. This is so beautiful. Kind of like the darker brown one. I think this is also a little bit less forgiving than the lighter shades are. So I feel like you might need to use a brush for some of the deeper colors. And then I'm just gonna pop the Dreamy over top and we'll see what that looks like. So I do think these are very pretty. You can also combine them, mix and match them if you want to use some of these deeper shades like in the outer corner and then fade to one of the lighter shades. You could definitely do that. And I think for today's look, I'm gonna combine a couple of different colors. I know this is supposed to be like a one and done sort of palette, and I think I would use it that way just on everyday makeup days, but just for today on camera, I want to try doing a couple of different shades together. So I am still going to keep it light. I'm going to use the Everyday shade on most of my lid from the outer corner to a little bit past the center. And I also want to use that pink shade and just pop this one in the inner corner and overlap it on top of the Everyday brown shade a little bit. And then I could leave it here, but I really want to pop that Dreamy shade on top just to add a little bit more sparkle. So I'm just going to put this right in the center of my lid and just add a little more impact. All right, guys, so I just added a little bit of mascara. This is the e.l.f. Lash Extender. And final result, I mean, I think it's really soft, really pretty. This palette is so far very easy to use. So I just want to quickly try out the blush and bronzer, but I do have other blushes and bronzers that I want to use in today's video. So before I put my foundation on, I just want to apply these really quickly because I want to get a good idea of how the colors look on my skin tone. Then I'm going to take them off, we'll do foundation, and we'll play with some of the other blush and bronzers that I got. So for bronzer, I want to try to pick up the lightest shades first, and then I'll try to deepen it up and see what that looks like on my skin tone. So on the BK Beauty 111 brush, I'm just going to apply the two lightest shades. I think that's perfect. It's a really nice subtle bronze color, and I feel like these are a little on the cooler tone side. I wouldn't go so far as to say they're as cool as a contour, but they're certainly not a really warm toned orange bronzer. So I'm loving the undertone of this a lot, but I just want to quickly pick up a little bit of the deeper color and see what that looks like if I were to add that in. Okay, so yeah, with this color, I do think it deepens it up a little bit, but it's still not a super deep dark bronzer. So the fact that I can use all three colors on my skin tone and it's not too much tells me that anybody that has a deeper skin tone might have issues with these colors showing up. But you guys will have to, again, let me know if you have a deeper skin tone and you've tried it. So next for blush, I want to try just the lightest shade on its own first, and then I'll add some of this one in. So this is the lightest shade first. And it just ever so slightly shows up, but not too much. So I think you have to be pretty fair just to use this color on its own. I think I could probably build it up. So that's what that looks like. And then if I just mix the two colors together and I add that brighter pop of pink, you're gonna get, yeah, quite a bit more impact showing up. And I have to say, I love this color. This is like the perfect rosy everyday blush shade. This is gorgeous. Again, I applied a little bit more than I normally would because I think usually I would just swirl the two colors together right away, but I really wanted to see what that lightest shade looked like first. So yeah, I have a lot of blush going on right now, but the point of this is really just to show you guys how these colors look on me. So again, we have the bronzers over here and the blush over here. And these feel really silky and very smooth. I feel like they go on without much effort or without having to blend too much. So overall, I am liking this palette. I like the concept. We'll have to see if it's something that I'm using a lot going forward. So in an update video, I'll be sure to let you know at that point. But if you're somebody who favors very natural looking, neutral makeup, this is such a pretty all-in-one option. By the way, I do have a coupon code with Natasha Denona for 15% off on her website. So if you do happen to be interested in this palette, you could save yourself a little bit of money. Next up, I got a new foundation, and this is one of those things that's not actually new, but it's new to me. I was on TikTok and there was someone who used to work for Lancome, and she was talking about their foundation stick and saying how absolutely beautiful it is for mature and dry skin types. And I was a little skeptical because foundation sticks generally look a little too thick and too heavy on my skin. But when I was at Ulta a couple days ago, I was like, let me just swatch it and see. And when I swatched the tester, I was like, what? This is the thinnest, most weightless foundation stick I've ever tried, and I bought it immediately. It was like an instant sell for me. So this is the Tarte Ultra Wear Stick. It claims to give 24-hour wear and comfort. I have it in the shade 260 Bisque, which is a neutral shade. Honestly, they were sold out of most of the colors, so I just got the one that I felt like would be the closest. And this actually does have a brush on one side, but it seems like it would be a nightmare to use. Like, it's really stiff and kind of hard. So I think I'm probably just gonna be blending this with my fingers today because it's honestly that kind of formula. It's the smoothest thing ever. Let's just go ahead and start applying this. I'm just gonna draw it right from the stick. And oh my gosh, yeah, like this is how it felt in store. It just melts, like that's it, it's blended. I just had to kind of rub my finger over it like 3 times and it's completely blended in. It doesn't have any drag, it's not sticky or goopy. And I feel like it's giving pretty good coverage. I would say medium right off the bat. But yeah, like it's just the most effortless thing ever. Just gonna put like 2 swipes over here. I have honestly never used a foundation stick that was this smooth and creamy. Even the Tom Ford one that's like $80. While it did look really nice on my skin, it was still a bit thicker and took more blending to actually apply. This one is seriously like magic. I don't know how they do it, but I am seriously impressed right now. That just took me about 2 seconds and it does not look like I'm wearing foundation at all. Even close up, looking in the mirror, it just looks like my skin. So here's a close up. This just feels like it's floating on top of my skin. It's not settling into fine lines or wrinkles. It is super lightweight and it gives a really good amount of coverage, like enough to even out my skin tone. So I'm really impressed. Next up, I have a new bronzer. It's from Glossier and it's their Cloud Paint bronzer. So I love the Cloud Paint blushes. I think they're such a beautiful formula and I was excited to see bronzers. The blushes have such a gorgeous seamless formula and I'm hoping that the bronzers are going to be the same way. I got the shade Sail, which I think was the lightest shade and it looked a little bit more on the cool tone side. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the back of my hand and I figured we'd apply this just with a brush. So again, I'm going to use my trusty 111 brush from BK Beauty. This is such a multitasker. And I'm just going to put a little bit on my cheek with my finger and then just blend back and forth. This is a very subtle color, but I like it. I love the undertone. It's almost like a little bit of a rosy cool tone, which is perfect. That's the color I would naturally turn if I were to go out in the sun. That is stunning. It's perfect. I'm just going to put a little on my forehead. It's blending out effortlessly too. It dries right down to a powder, so there's no sticky feeling. And so far, the amount that I put on the back of my hand is still going. I just put like one little squirt, about the size of a pea, and I'm just sort of putting a little dab in all of the areas where I would normally put bronzer. So again, just going to put a little bit over here. This formula has a very melty quality, so it just goes right into your skin, again, without too much blending or effort. So I really love it. I feel like the theme of today's video should just be really easy to apply makeup because that's how I feel like this is going. Everything that I've tried has just been super effortless, from the eyeshadows to the foundation. Now this bronzer, everything is just really foolproof. And the more I use this color Sail, the more I love it. Just looking at my skin, I feel like it's that perfect rosy bronze that looks like my natural tan. It just gave me this very effortless sun-kissed look. Next, I am also so excited about this product. These are from LYS. They are blush sticks. So these come in super pretty metallic pink packaging, and the sticks are in the shape of a triangle, similar to the Hourglass ones. And these claim to be a lightweight, easy to blend vegan blush stick that gives an instant pop of color and wearable luminosity that brings life to the makeup look. So I'm just swatching these on the back of my hand to see which color I should use. And these are crazy pigmented. Like, look at this. You hardly have to touch it, and the pigment is insane. So these are something I'm gonna have to be really careful with. And even though I'm only gonna wear one color in the look today, I'm gonna just insert footage of me trying on the other two colors that I didn't try in the video today. That way you can see what those look like. So first up, we have the shade Elite, and this is the deepest color that I have. And it's a super gorgeous rose color that's a bit more on the neutral side. It's not an overly cool tone pink, and it's also not super warm. So I love this. It almost seems to have a little bit of like a mauvey undertone. And then the second shade is Bubbly, and this one is a brighter pinky coral. So it's more of a warm pink. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing for the summertime. It's one of those shades that just really brightens up your whole face. So now that you've seen those two colors, I'm going to use the shade Focused today. I think it'll pair really well with my eyeshadow colors. So because these are so pigmented, I hesitate to put it on directly from the stick. I think I'm going to pick it up with, again, that BK Beauty 111 brush. And I'm just going to glide it on top of the stick a few times and then start patting it into my cheek. Hopefully I didn't pick up too much. Actually, no, it's fine. I can probably go a little bit harder with it. Let's see. Okay, whoa. All right. That was too much. But I think it's going to sheer out okay. So these do have a little bit of luminosity to the formula. They're not a flat matte. I think you can probably see just a little bit of glow when I turn my head, but they're not full of glitter, so it's not going to be a sparkly effect. It's just more of like that little bit of a subtle glow. And it's the type of blush where if you're used to wearing more of a subtle highlighter, you could definitely skip the highlighter. If you want a little bit more oomph, then you might want to apply another one, but I feel like for me, this would be enough right on its own. And I have a really good feeling about these because I love their cream blushes that come in like the little triangle compacts. Those are incredible, and I feel like they're a very long-lasting formula, so I'm hoping that this one will be as well. And I'm loving this peachy pink color. It just gives a little bit of warmth to my skin. I really, really love it. I feel like everything is just hitting perfectly today. So next we have the new Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip Vinyls. So when I saw these two, I had to have them. I love the juicy lips. I know not everybody does, but these are supposed to be like an amped up version of those. And honestly, those are like a lip gloss in a stick. So I don't know how these could possibly be any more shiny, but we're gonna find out. I wanna try one of the original ones first, and then we'll compare and see if these are even shinier. So I ended up getting 3 colors of the Juicy Vinyl. I have Rosy Brown, Sheer Iris, and Sheer Lotus, which is a really bright pink. These have the exact same coconutty smell that the original one does, and they don't seem to have any plumping ingredients or the tingle that the Juicy Plumps have. So these seem the most similar to the original Maracuja Juicy Lips. Okay, so just quickly, packaging wise, the old ones come in pink tubes, the new ones are in purple tubes. And I want to apply the rose shade in the old formula first, and then we'll compare the two. Okay, so here's rose, and as you can see, it is very, very shiny. It looks like I applied a lip gloss. All right, then let's do Sheer Iris in the new formula. I still have a hard time thinking about this being even shinier. Like, how could that be? So this one felt really similar going on. It basically feels the same on my lips. I'm not sure if it looks any shinier, so you guys will have to let me know. I actually just took some close-up photos with my phone, so I want to show you them side by side really quickly. To be honest with you, I don't feel like the new one is any shinier than the old one, at least for me. It looks pretty much the same. I feel like they give that lip gloss kind of vibe. So anyway, I just want to show you all the colors swatched. So again, this is Sheer Iris. Next up is Sheer Lotus. Even though this one looked really bright in the tube, these are actually a little bit more on the sheer side. And then the third shade I got is Rosy Brown. This one actually seems to have a little bit more pigmentation than the other two. All right, so I just put Sheer Lotus back on. I think if I had to compare these to the original, they feel almost exactly the same. I would say maybe they're slightly thicker, and that's something that you're gonna wanna watch out for because these have such a melty texture that if you put on too much, they're gonna get gummy really fast, and they're gonna start kind of making your lips stick together. They have that little bit of a tacky feel, like if you press your lips together. So I know that's something that some of you have told me you don't like about the original. So if you don't like the original, you're definitely not gonna like these because like I said, I think they're even a little bit thicker, and I found that I have to put less of these on or else you just get way too much product kind of gunking up your lips. With the original ones, I feel like I could kind of go around my lips a couple times and it would still be fine, but with these, I felt like just a sheer layer is enough. So do I feel like you need to really run right out and buy these? Not necessarily. I think if you have the original ones, it's pretty close to the same thing. I don't find these to be any shinier than the originals. Unless there's a specific color that you like in the newer ones, I would say you probably don't need to bother. Out of all of the things I've tried in the video today, I would say this is the one thing where I would say you could probably save your money. Also, when I was in Ulta the other day, the same day that I got this Lancome stick, I saw new Buxom Plump Shot colors. So they have some multi-chrome shades now that looked insanely good. So if you haven't tried the Plump Shot, this is actually a plumping lip serum versus a gloss. So it has a really thin formula, and these have been clinically shown to plump, increase volume, and visibly reduce lip lines and wrinkles. And I got 2 shades in the new colors. I have Dreamy Dolly and Celestial Nude. And I just loved that these had a multi-chrome finish because we're not really seeing that a lot when it comes to lip products. So I wanted to try these on really quickly, and I guess we'll start with Dreamy Dolly. This one looked so beautiful, and these have like a vanilla mint scent. It kind of reminds me of vanilla Tic Tacs. I think the Dior Lip Maximizer has the same scent as well. And I really love how thin this formula feels on your lips. It almost feels like a lip oil, but it definitely has that little bit of a tingle. It's not a burn, it's not super intense, but it's definitely a tingle that you notice. So here's the shade Dreamy Dolly. I don't know that I noticed that much of a multi-chrome shift, maybe just a little bit. And then the second shade that I got is called Celestial Nude. This one is like a nude, but it almost shifts to a blue-green color. It's really interesting. All right, so here is Celestial Nude. I kind of feel like these are interesting because they have little tiny glitters in the formula. Not that you can feel. They feel really smooth on your lips. There's no gritty texture, but I feel like because they're extra shiny, they almost have a metallic look, and that can sometimes accentuate texture. So if you have a lot of lines in your lips like I do, that metallic finish can almost make them a little more noticeable versus smoothing them out like the Tarte glosses, for example. I feel like these look really smoothing on my lips, whereas with these Buxom glosses, I feel like I can see a lot more of the lines than usual when I would wear a gloss. So I guess that's something to consider, but at the same time, the plumping aspect is supposed to kind of smooth everything out. So I'm gonna wear this for a little while and see if I notice any changes as far as that goes. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do my hair, and I'll be right back with some final thoughts. All right, guys, so in the time it took me to curl my hair, I think the lip product definitely has settled a little bit. It's not quite as intense as it was when I first applied it. It really just has a cooling sensation right now. And I also was pleasantly surprised to see that my lips do look a bit smoother than when I first applied it. I think just that plumping action or whatever it's doing helped to make them look a lot smoother, and they definitely don't look as wrinkled as they did before. So overall, I think I'm really pleased with everything that I tried today. The foundation stick, oh my goodness, it is amazing. Also, the LYS blushes, I think are gonna also be another big favorite. I love that they're slightly glowy without going overboard. I also think the Cloud Paint bronzer from Glossier is so beautiful. I'm obsessed with this color. I think it is like the perfect tone for me. And when it comes to the Natasha Denona palette, I'm still gonna have to play with it a little bit more and see how much I'm really reaching for it, like after this review is over. But I'll definitely be doing follow-up videos pretty soon with some roundups like of 2024 so far. So I'll have to let you guys know then, probably next month in March sometime. I would say the only thing that I'm kind of not quite convinced about are these new Tarte lip vinyls, and not because they're a bad product, but just because I don't feel like they're any different than the original ones, other than maybe being slightly thicker and a little bit more difficult to use because of that. So unless there is a specific color that you are just really head over heels for with the new lip vinyl formula, I would say just stick with the original Maracuja Juicy Lips, because I think this formula is just a little bit better. So anyway, that's everything, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and also be sure to hit the subscribe if you're not subscribed to my channel yet. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts on these products down below, and if you have some extra time and you'd like to watch another video, I'll put something right up here for you to check out next. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.